James for the untouchable, true school sports. Let's go, baby. Bow!
Be careful what you wish for because it can become a reality.
Yeah. The untouchable, true school sports empire. And y'all know the rest, man. Now listen, this is my official post-fight review for Batyrgaziev versus Jazza Dickens. And guys, put this fight right here in the running for upset of the year, because nobody really thought, very few people thought that Jazza Dickens was gonna beat Batyrgaziev, let alone just run right through him. That wasn't on a lot of people's bingo cards in boxing. So Jazza Dickens, you know, he upsets Batyrgaziev. Now let's talk about it, because the fight ended in 4 rounds. Jazza Dickens didn't just beat Batyrgaziev, but he exposed Batyrgaziev straight up. He exposed him badly, and let's not have it twisted. You know, Batyrgaziev, his last fight before this, he had got dropped a couple of times. He was showing a very suspect chin and suspect durability. So if it wasn't going to be Jazza Dickens, the consensus was that at some point when Batyrgaziev stepped up to the world-class level, that he was going to, you know, get the brakes beaten off of him by somebody. It's just Jazza Dickens wasn't that guy, because Jazza Dickens is not known as this destructive, big-time puncher. Now, to Jazza Dickens' credit, maybe he has been overlooked a little bit by the boxing world, because if you would have asked me before this fight, BT, what do you know about Jazza Dickens? I would have said, oh, the guy that got his jaw broke by Guillermo Rigondeaux? Yeah, what about him? I would have asked you. I would have said that. But really and truthfully, you look at his resume. He's beat Lee Wood. He's beat Leonardo Diamante. He's beat Zaurbek. He's beat some good fighters. So he's not no scrub. And you know, Batyrgaziev, he had the interim title at 130. So he was in a de facto sense the mandatory to Lamont Roach. We all know Lamont Roach was going to move up to at 135. He already fought Tank. He's supposed to fight Gervonta Davis again. You know, with the pay grade he's experienced, I didn't think Lamont Roach was coming back. So either I thought that Batyrgaziev was going to get elevated like everybody else is in boxing these days, or fight for the title against you know, like just whoever in the rankings. But that's not going to happen, because now Jazza Dickens has taken his place. Really impressive stuff, man. Jazza Dickens was able to push Batyrgaziev back and really out-volume him. His punch selection was very good. Every punch seemed to have bad intentions on it, and every punch seemed to have a purpose. So look, man, this is the kind of performance that's you know, really has put Jazza Dickens on the map on the world stage. Because I remember a couple years ago when Batyrgaziev was getting ready to turn pro. You know, that I did my prospect review video about him, and you know, I thought he was I thought he was good. I thought he was good, but then, you know, that's why you got to allow a fighter time to develop in the pros, because you really don't know, really and truthfully, you don't know what the professional game will hold for certain fighters. As he stepped up and turned pro, he showed vulnerabilities. He showed, you know, the fact that his defense is leaky, and credit to Jazza Dickens, he's exploited it. So now he's put himself firmly in the world title conversation in a very wide open super featherweight division. You know, the division's that a weight class that I classify too highly right now. I think it's very thin, but fair play to him. He's done what many people thought he couldn't do. So I'm looking forward to seeing who he could fight. Some of the guys ranked in the top 3 of the WBA, you know, he's the interim champion now, so he's basically the mandatory and or the guy that's going to get elevated if the WBA decides to do that. But I think for the future of Jazza Dickens, the two fighters that are ranked in the top 3 that I think would be very, very interesting to see him in fights with, especially now because he done put himself on the map and beat the brakes off of Batyrgaziev. You know, Hayato Tsutsumi, he's one of these fighters from Japan that I've been banging on about for a while. I've been talking a lot about him for a while. He's really high skill level fighter. You know, has a deep amateur background, very good sense of timing, distance, can actually fight a little bit on the pocket as well. I think, you know, what I see from Jazza Dickens, you know, he ain't no punk. He showed it in this fight, and going through his resume, you know, he's shown it against other fighters who are pretty good fighters, like Lee Wood, Leonardo Diamante, Zaurbek. These are guys that have, you know, been world champion, fought 4 world titles, you know, been mandatory. So when you find the guys of that caliber and winning, that says a lot about you. But yeah, him versus Tsutsumi is a really good fight. I think it would be a chance for Tsutsumi to test himself at the world-class level. And if not him, then you got Zoltan Zaurbek from, I believe he's from Kazakhstan. He's from Kazakhstan or Uzbekistan. I saw him fight recently on Johnny Beck's last card. You know, aggressive, come forward southpaw. Not sure how good Zaurbek is yet because I haven't watched enough of him to have like a deep opinion. But you know, from what I remember seeing, just really aggressive, good motor. You know, seems to really know how to close the gap. So I think, you know, based on what I saw, this fight from Dickens and Zaurbek, that'd be a good fight. So those are two fights that I'm looking at for him. But congratulations to him, man. It's a hard game, and when you go out there and you upset the apple card and you punch a ticket towards a world title and or a world title shot, that has to be respected. As far as our Batyrgaziev, again, I tell everybody, a lot of people in the boxing industry and boxing fans, they fall in love with these guys that have this crazy amateur background. They see a medal, they see an AIBA World Championship, they see 300 amateur fights or 200 amateur fights, and they think that that's going to be the end-all, be-all, that always translates to the pros. And guess what? No, it doesn't. And here's another example. So our Batyrgaziev has to go right to the drawing board, and he's not particularly a young guy. That's why he's in this fight so early in his career. They were trying to fast-track him, and the fast track had a big speed bump ahead in the name of Jazza Dickens. So credit to him. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What did you think of the fight? Is it the upset of the year? I believe it's a pretty big upset. I don't know what the odds were, but I would say it was at least more than a 2 or 3 to 1 odds, I would think, but I don't know. I didn't check the odds. So you guys can tell me in the comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you could love me or you could hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this, make sure you guys stay tuned and subscribe. You won't be disappointed.